Good morning, sweetie. Sorry I look so sketchy. I've been up since like 4 a.m. with Dylan, but I've done your reading and I've taken lots of notes because I am not a professional tarot card reader just yet. So I have to still interpret a lot of the cards through the books and stuff. So I kind of read everything and jot down like the notes and stuff so that I can just give it to you the cleanest way possible. So, kind of how this works. I don't know if you've ever had a reading before, but I kind of pray over the cards as I shuffle. I kind of give them your name. I kind of, you know, envision your face, your spirit. I kind of try to get your energy, and kind of just ask for whatever guidance that you might be in need of at this time. So I don't have anything specific that I'm trying to find out or trying to tell you. It's basically just maybe a sort of overall message that you need to hear. So going into that, I did a basic shuffle, and at the bottom of the deck here is the Five of Cups. So that's what the card looks like. And as you can see, it's kind of this guy, kind of looking down. There's a whole bunch of cups laying down on the ground, right? And he's looking at them and he's sad about everything that he's lost so far. But if you notice, there's two cups behind him that he's not seeing. And so in that, it kind of says, kind of be appreciative for what you do have. And don't pay attention to what you've lost. Pay more attention to what you have because you're not seeing it. You may be focusing more on the losses than what you actually have. And so the bottom of the deck usually signifies like the overall theme of this reading going forward. So that's where we started. Okay, so that's that. And then your first card is the Knight of Cups, right? So the Knight of Cups in this first position is your present situation, and it can represent charm, romance, or affection, right? New relationships, new friendships, celebrating, being social, getting gratitude, having good times, right? So in romance, it could mean that, something is short-lived. It's kind of like a temporary card, right? But it's a cup, so it could also represent a water sign, which is Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. So I don't know if that means anything to you, but it doesn't have to. It's just one of the representations of the card. So it could also, cups themselves signify emotions. So that is your present situation, okay? And the problem card is the Hanged Man, right? So he kind of sits up there. He's kind of chilling, but what he's really doing is thinking. So if you see, his head is illuminated by the sun in the back, and the sun is actually a representation of Leo, although this card is not a representation of Leo. The sun itself that is back there. He's doing a lot of thinking. Okay, this is called a Major Arcana card. So it's kind of a big deal in the grand scheme of things, So this is not just thinking mundanely. This is thinking something on a major level. So it could signify different things. So waiting, letting go, sacrifice, but also it could represent like this ultimate salvation through a change of perspective. So maybe finding value in time spent alone, thinking, reflecting something that is difficult, and releasing that. So, you might need a timeout, or you might be feeling stuck about something. So take a step back and try to get some insight from a different perspective. So that's kind of the suggestion for that card. It also could mean that you're waiting on someone else to make a decision, right? Or that you're unable to move until that decision is made. Okay? And so maybe trust that the time that you'll take, thinking, in the end, that you'll get what you need. So it's a little bit of faith in there, in that waiting to kind of figure out either what you're going to do or what this other person is going to do. So it could be you, could be them, if this has to do with another person, okay? Because this may not be a love reading. This might be just a life reading. This could have to do with your business. It could have to do with friendships. It could have to do with romantic relationships. All right, so the next card is a representation of your past, okay? And so in the past, we have Temperance, okay? So this beautiful card is supposed to represent balance. So this is another water sign card. And here by the 7, that's supposed to signify specifically Cancer. But your birthday is also in the 7th month. So you could take that into account as well. But as you can see, she has these 2 cups here, and she's equally flowing the water into both cups. She has 1 foot in, 1 foot out. She's balanced there. She got the sun in the background. You know, everything is beautifully illuminated. The flowers are blooming. The grass is growing. Everything's green. You know, she's all angelic and happy and abundant and all that good stuff. So it represents kind of like a balance of emotion, equal give and take, new growth in life, you know, transformation. It could be reconciliation, but remember that this is, you know, things that have already happened or probably have already happened. So you've seen some progress, and, you know, had potential for goodness, and, you know, things pretty much worked out in the past. So, you know, that's a good sign. But here in the future, we have the 9 of Swords. So if you notice, she looks really stressed out. He or she looks really stressed out. Okay. And this could represent like nightmares, depression, anxiety, suffering, or victimization. You could be stressed out, maybe feeling that something is falling apart. Maybe there's some battle, but it's calling for you to have patience. Patience again. So, you know, patience for your own strength. Okay. So then my number 5 card in your conscious, okay, is the Page of Cups. So this is actually more water energy, and this is guidance or creative beginnings. So there may be a need to be more grounded in approaching love, and relationships. So it doesn't have to be love. It could be friendships. It could be relationships with family, but it's an emotion card. So this is in your conscious. So this is kind of what you know about. This is kind of what you're looking at, maybe what you're actively thinking, right? But in your unconscious, right? What you aren't really talking about is the Judgment card. So this is another big deal. This is another one of those major arcana. So this isn't just, you know, judging what I'm going to wear today, what kind of shoes go with my outfit. This is like a big deal. This is something life-changing, at least in the moment. It feels that way, okay? So this signifies reviewing where you've been, and working on making conscious decisions. So some of the keywords that represent this card are truth, renewal, forgiveness, freedom, and rebirth. So a significant change may be occurring as a project or relationship moves toward a conclusion. Okay. So this is also a possibility for second chances, an opportunity for forgiveness, and conditions improving. So it does signify that things are going to get better. And this is in your unconscious. So, you know, maybe you don't see this right now as an option or a possibility, but it's there. So, you know, don't count it out. Don't count them out. Don't count yourself out, whatever the situation is. If you look at the card, as I'm looking at the card, it's almost the same angel from the Temperance card, right? The lady who balances everything. And all the people on the ground, she's like calling them toward her, right? Pay no attention to the fact that they're naked. But, you know, everybody's standing in some sort of binding boat, and she's here to save them. It kind of looks like that. Like they're all on the water, but they're all standing in this thing, and they don't seem like they have anything, but she's up there like with the Red Cross, right? Like she's coming to save them. So I think that's interesting. That's part of the reading of the card, So, let's say in your unconscious, truth, renewal, forgiveness, freedom, and rebirth. So something's occurring. So I don't want to say somebody's coming to save you necessarily, but maybe you need a little first aid. Maybe you need a little taken care of. Maybe you want to be taken care of in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe, you're taking care of something else. Maybe something needs to be taken care of. So yeah, moving right along. I've got your influence card is actually not a card. So in this specific deck, there are a few cards that are just artwork and they don't necessarily have any specific meaning. It's kind of just up for interpretation. So 2 interpretations for this card that I got is, see like this caretaker lady right here. She seems kind of maybe motherly, grandmotherly, maybe like a nanny. She's tending to the children, right? They're loving up on her. They're paying her attention. She's paying them attention. She may be tired. I don't know. There's a young girl in the back. So I can't quite figure her out. So it depends on the reading. And for me, she always seems sneaky. She gives me this sneaky energy. So, you've got the caretaker lady here, but then you've got this sneaky other person here in the background. Now, if she's not being sneaky, then she could be working or tending to something. She could be an older child of hers, or she could be their mom, and this could be her mom. Who knows, but she's not really paying attention, and she has her back toward everybody, which is a little bit confusing to me because I don't know what the hell she's over there doing. So sometimes I read this card as like a mistress sort of situation, like this is mom here tending to the kids and then the sneaky lady in the back, but it doesn't have to be that. But I'm going to tell you the reason why I came up with that, because your next card in what your external influence is the 3 of Pentacles. And this also has multiple meanings, as does everything else. But the 3 of Pentacles a lot of times kind of signifies third-party relationships. But this is the only 3 that you got in your reading. So that's not necessarily true. So some other meanings for this card could represent creativity, teamwork, or like mastering skills in business. It could be like a new business location or maybe a new home, because there's 3 people here and they're all working together. Okay. So you've got the guy, he's standing up on the podium and the other 2 people are listening, seem to be taking notes. But this could also represent, a 3-party, 1 man, 2 women. Maybe not. This could also represent a rise in your rank among your peers. So they probably were all on the same level at some point, and then he stepped up. Maybe, could be. Okay. And your next card for the placement of your hopes and your fears is an interesting card. So this is the card that people use. So like they're out in the cold, basically. So this could be with a person. You're out in the cold, or you've put somebody else out in the cold. Okay. But this card could also represent insecurity, isolation, financial loss, worry, poverty, or hardship, right? But not necessarily poverty, but maybe poverty thinking, maybe being afraid of poverty, not wanting to, to be in a place where, you're struggling for money, or being actually in a place where you're struggling for money, right? So it's an upset instability. But the lesson here is not to let those thoughts, right? Because this is in the hopes and the fears. So the lesson is not to let those thoughts get the best of you, and don't fall into that negative energy. Like, don't feed it. Okay. Because your outcome card, or your possible outcome card here, is the Page of Swords. And so the Page of Swords represents curiosity, intelligence, and perception. So this is like you possibly getting helpful and practical advice. He's a good judge of character. And it's kind of telling you to keep your wits about you, right? Navigating a situation successfully is on your horizon. So it's going to be covered. So whatever it is that you're feeling down about, or, maybe having anxiety about, what you've been thinking about and coming to decisions about, because you have a lot of, things going on in your head here, trying to figure out what's going on. And so it's like, somebody is probably going to come in, maybe a mentor, to give you some sort of advice. So he's holding this sword, right? Maybe preparing for a fight, but he doesn't really look like he wants to fight, right? He's not angry. He's not standing really straight up. He's kind of like chilling. He almost looks playful, playful and cute. Not much of a warrior. So maybe he needs a little assistance. Maybe he needs a little training, right? So maybe kind of debating, thinking, but he's still standing tall. He's not frowning. He's not down. He's not slumped over. And although it's a little cloudy, you still see the blue in the sky. The sun isn't quite out. It could be covered up. It could be on its way out. It could be on its way back in. But there's still hope, okay? So that is your current reading. I'm going to do a clarifier card for your Page of Swords, just because I don't want to end it with, it's kind of like a lackluster ending for the final card. So possibly to get a little bit more clarity, I'm going to clarify this Page of Swords for Swea. Clarify this Page of Swords for Swea. So I'm going to take one and do 2 circles. One here, one here. And I got the High Priestess. Can you see that? Okay. So if we're looking up the High Priestess, right? She's kind of a big deal. So that's another one of those major arcana cards. And where is she? So the High Priestess signifies wisdom, femininity, intuition, the past secrets, and spirituality. As the second character of the major arcana, she is the mediator of imagination and assimilation, and her association with the moon suggests mystery and intuition. This card often appears when changes are taking place on the inner planes that will be released into outer reality at the appropriate time. Although we may be at early stages of a spiritual journey, none of us is really truly a blank slate. We bring memories of the past and emotional associations to every act and every experience. This card acknowledges the inner forces of work and our responses to external circumstances. This card can represent mystery, the subconscious, and even higher powers of the mind. Your intuition is growing stronger, and you're encouraged to trust your instincts. You may be keeping emotions and secrets closely hidden at the present moment until you know it's safe to reveal them. So I think that was much more helpful. And I have oracle cards here, which basically just give you like a special message. These are like goddess cards. So I really usually just do one of these a day, but one of these just fell out for you. So I'm just going to read the one that fell out. Actually, you got 2. Okay, so I'm going to read them both. So the first one is Ishtar, and she represents boundaries. So love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. And that's her. Okay. And the second card is Bast, and she represents independent. It says your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. Okay. That's for you. And I hope that this resonated. Let's see, where are we at? Timestamp 20 minutes. That was like a whole full reading. I'm gonna post the link on YouTube. I'm gonna send you the link, and I want you to watch it and let me know how I did. Love you. Bye.